So yes guys, there are so many different ways you guys can improve your recoil. I'll be going through every single one and why and how you guys can improve. I'm going to start off with the attachments. I've just done a video on that on my channel if you guys want to check out the best attachments for every single gun. But the kind of theory at the moment is kind of only use vertical on basically every single gun in Demon Vale at the moment, and also use flash hiders. That's not for every single gun, but for most guns that's the combination you want to use. It's also very important in my opinion to mess around with different sensitivities on your mouse and different reses and sensitivities in your game as well. You might be saying, why do you want to do this? It's because you've got to find which one you feel comfortable with. So different players play on different resolutions like myself, but I used to play on 16x10, but the recoil is slightly different on 16x10 than it is on 4:3 because of how big your screen is and how much you have to pull down. It's just micro things, but once you find which one you prefer, so you might prefer playing on stretch, you might prefer playing on normal, you might prefer 16x10. There's so many different ways you can do it. Try them all out where they're kind of the same sensitivity for all of them and find which one you prefer the most. Then mess around with your sensitivity so you can max your sensitivity 4 higher than you normally have it, or lower it by 4 and see how you play for 1 to 2 to 3 rounds. Probably not ranked if you guys want to test this stuff, and then find out which one you prefer more. And what I've done now for the last probably 6 months is I've only stuck with the same thing. I've not changed anything. I play on the same res and the same sensitivity, and my headshot accuracy has gone up about 4% in the last 6 months. So that shows you that if you stick with what you've got and you start learning how you play with that kind of stuff, you can tweak it every so often if you still want to. It will make you play better. And then individual recoils for guns. Obviously Siege has different recoils for different guns, and the more you play the gun, once you've got your sensitivity sorted, the easier you'll be able to learn the recoil. For example, SMG11 has quite a tricky recoil. A lot of new players struggle with this gun, and I'll demonstrate what it looks like when I've played a lot of SMG11, like a lot of SMG11. You can get really good with the spray, and you kind of just starts becoming muscle memory. So here we go. I'm in the wall. I use Hollow B, I think it's at the moment on the SMG11. I am switching between Hollow A and Hollow B. So that's kind of it without really trying. That's still not too bad, and this is me trying now to pull down to keep it in one tight circle. As you can see, still a little bit side to side. I'm still not perfect, but it's so much more tighter than the normal SMG recoil. Like, this is, if you don't really pull it down, that's kind of what it looks like. Just a tight little spread. Obviously, again, with the SMG11, you want to keep it in tight little bursts. This is the kind of thing you'll start getting much better at once you figure out your sensitivity. So going through the checklist for you guys, it's a little bit like making a cake, this kind of thing, man. It's like you need all the different components to make your recipe. So find your sensitivity that you are comfortable with and your resolution in Siege. Then start using guns that you find tricky. I do recommend using SMG11, Scorpion, those kind of guns, just to get really used to pulling down on the guns that have quite a lot of recoil. Like Sophia's AR is a good example as well at the moment. Another thing that's really important is the warm-up process. This is only to the more try-hard gamers or the gamers that want to improve in ranked. This is for you guys. So a lot of people tell you to use aim labs. I personally don't use aim labs. I use the new mode, the team deathmatch mode in Siege. I also sometimes still use terrorist hunt just to get my one taps and my little snappy wiggle aims on there, because obviously it's sometimes hard to do on deathmatch. But again, aim labs will improve your aim with the micro aim, but I really only believe aim labs is for the people who are trying to become pro and really good at the game, where it's kind of like practicing shooting a football against the post 10 times in a row. It's not really what I want to do in Siege. I don't really want to practice to improve my aim accuracy by 82% to 88%. I want to improve hitting heads, and I want to do that in game. I don't have we all don't have like 100 hours to practice our aim, I would say. So hopping in deathmatch is a great way to shoot other people who are moving players, different scenarios, close combat, far range. Use different guns, don't use the same gun every time. That's how you're going to get really snappy with your aim before you hop in your ranked game. I also recommend getting in an unranked game or 2 to 3 terrorist hunt before your ranked game with the team deathmatch as a warm-up. But also, let me just quickly go on to peripherals, like the actual peripherals that you're using. It's very important what mouse and mouse mat you're using. Also monitor not as crucial as the other two. Your mouse is incredibly important because you might be like, well, I see people with really bad mice do really well. It's not actually the mouse. So it's not like you need a Logitech mouse or you need a special Razer mouse or you need a final mouse, whatever it is. You actually need the mouse that fits your hand size. So you might be like, what's that? There's a guy called Rocket Ninja. He has a website where you can basically measure your hand from vertical, sideways, and that will tell you if you have a big hand, large hand, small hand, medium hand, those kind of things. And depending on how big your hand is, that's what mouse you want to buy. So obviously things like the Logitech Superlight that I have is kind of a mouse that almost fits all hands, but if you have really big hands, you need quite a big mouse. If you have small hands, you're going to be overstretching your hand and it'll be harder to aim. I know there's a lot of information for you guys, but I'm just trying to give you the full picture in a short little video. The other thing that's really important is your mouse mat. A lot of people don't realize how important a mouse mat is. You don't need to spend £150 on a mouse mat. There's so many good mouse mat for about £30. I've tried different ones. I've tried a £100 mouse mat, I've tried a £30 mouse mat, and actually for me the £30 mouse mat was actually much better for me than the £150 mouse mat. Because you might be like, whoa, that's so insane, why would blah blah blah, but it's basically because it was a control pad. So you have different types of pads. I would go for the standard pad, like a Logitech pad. I'm using a VAXOQ mouse mat, I think it's called. I can leave the link in the description, or the name of it in the description if you guys want to check it out. Those are the kind of mouse pads that are just thin cloth ones, and they do the job for most aimers. Also, I forgot to say with the mouse, also the glides and the skates you put on your mouse can make an impact, but let's keep that simple for you guys for right now. So just try to find out what mouse you have. You might be using a mouse that's way too big for your hand right now, or way too small, which might be resolving your hand cramps, those kind of things. And you might also be using a mouse pad that's too quick for you or too slow for you. There are many other videos on YouTube that you guys can check out for those kind of things in more detail, but those are 2 things to watch out for. And lastly, the last thing I have for peripherals, obviously, how you sit at your desk, if you're slumping, if you're sitting up straight, your posture, all those kind of things. That's boring. I have bad posture myself, so I can't talk too much about it. The other thing, as you all know with me, is arm sleeves. Arm sleeves are quite important, only because they keep the consistent feeling on your arm and the same movement on your arm every time. So if you wear a hoodie, it has these little like wrinkly bits. If you use your skin on the mouse mat all the time, you'll probably get used to that as well. But sometimes your skin not chafes, but kind of like rubs against the mouse mat and doesn't feel great. An arm sleeve will always glide for you. You'll get used to the arm sleeve. It can be really warm in your room, it can be really cold, it'll still be the same kind of glide, or you'll be used to it the most. You stop thinking about your aim. That's the biggest thing how you improve your aim, apart from playing the game, is that you stop thinking about your aim. I remember when I was playing CSGO back in the day and I was really bad, I was really new to PC, I was thinking, where is my E key? Where am I aiming? Where's my mouse looking now? Where's my mouse button? Where's my G key? Now when I play games, I don't even think about any of that. I don't even care what's going on. I don't even think about my hands anymore. They're just doing their own thing at this point. It's like my brain and hands aren't even connected when I play video games. And that's probably the most important thing I can tell you guys. You aren't going to be an insane god at this game within the first 30 hours of getting keyboard and mouse. This just takes time. But these are little things that you can help to improve you to get to a higher level than you might get to. Because for me personally, this might be different for you. My first game on ranked is my worst game a lot of the time. The longer I play, by longer I play, I mean like after an hour or two, so basically 1-2 games of ranked, my third game I'll probably perform better than I would in my first game. I just have to warm up my hands, warm up my head. I'm always asleep, man. Maybe you guys are the same, so I do recommend you do that as well. What the fuck is going on right? What is going on right now, chat? Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. Make sure to click the things on screen. There'll be one like a solo queue video that I did on myself that you can watch me how I play and maybe get some tips from that as well, because that's a way to improve on Siege as well. And anyway, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.